Have you ever wondered why countries even exist? You might think they've been around forever, like natural features of the world, that there was always a France or a Germany with borders and a shared identity. But the truth is far more complicated. Even the word country is hard to define. Does it mean a government, a population, a shared culture? For this video, I'm going to use a broad but clear definition.
A country is a defined territory with permanent borders, a population, and a government that exercises authority over it.
Using this definition, we can actually try to figure out which was the first real country. And surprisingly, the answer isn't Rome, France, or Germany. It's Portugal. Portugal was recognized as a kingdom in 1143, got mostly stable borders by the 13th century, and has maintained continuous government ever since. Its territorial core has been remarkably consistent over 700 years, which is almost unheard in medieval Europe. Now what about the Roman Empire? Surely that counts as a country. Well, not exactly. The Roman Empire did have territory, a population, and a government. It even had a shared Roman civic identity. But there are a few key differences. Rome was expansionist. Its borders were constantly changing. Its authority was imperial, not territorial sovereignty in the modern sense. Being Roman meant you were under Roman rule. It wasn't tied to a specific nation or fixed borders. You could shrink Rome to Italy or Spain or England, and it would still be Rome. You can't do that with Portugal, France, or Germany. Those countries are defined by a fixed territory and government that exercises sovereignty over it. This is where the Peace of Westphalia in 1648 comes in. These treaties ended the 30 Years' War and essentially created the rule for modern states. States became legally equal. They had authority over their territory without outside interference. Borders and sovereignty became the standard and markers of a legitimate country. So even though Portugal existed centuries before Westphalia, it fits the modern idea of a country because it had continuous government, a stable territory, and a defined population. But having a country doesn't automatically create a shared identity. Take France, for example. Historian Eugene Weber, in his book Peasants into Frenchmen, explains that until roughly 1870 till 1914, large parts of rural France didn't even consider themselves French. They spoke local dialects like Breton, Occitanian, and Basque. The loyalty was to villages, families, or regions, not to the nation, and many had never even traveled outside their county. France existed as a state, but a national identity was created, not inherited. Weber argues that France became a nation through state-driven modernization. Schools taught standard French and national history, railroads connected isolated villages to the rest of the country, military conscription forced young men from different regions to interact and learn a common language, and markets, newspapers, and bureaucracy created shared experiences and loyalty to the French state. In other words, being French wasn't automatic. It was taught, structured, and enforced. This shows that national identity is not natural. Even in a country with fixed borders, identity must be built. And let's remember, France is a really centralized country. This is why there isn't one single global identity. Countries exist because humans organize themselves into territories with different governments, but within those borders, people may have different languages, religions, and cultures. These diversities can lead to tension and conflict. So to summarize, a country is a defined territory with borders, population, and government. Portugal is one of the first examples of a continuous country. Rome was an empire, powerful and structured, but expansionist and not territorially defined. Modern sovereignty, codified in the Peace of Westphalia, set the rules for today's countries. And as Weber shows, national identity is built over time, not automatic. Countries exist because we define them, and that definition shapes history, identity, and conflict in the world. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next video.